everybody. Here we go. Happy Monday. It's Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious, little chilly, but bright and sunny, downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester on this Monday, March 15, 2021. And hello to all our friends online, of course, on the Facebook, on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page, and WMNHradio.org and MattConnarton.com and Raw Talk Online and everything. But I'm not alone. Jenny is here.
Hello. I am. I'm here.
Yes, you are. And we are here to take your calls at 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text us at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnarton.com. And I do want to remind you, of course, that we are proudly sponsored by the Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan at 1000 Elm Street, right across the street. Don't go there today. Monday and Tuesday is their weekend, but they will reopen on Wednesday. And they've been doing great. Thank you all for continuing to support them, the Hop Knot. And, they have delicious gourmet pretzels. They have craft beer. They have wine. They have trivia night on Thursday nights. And soon we'll be resuming the outdoor dining once the weather gets a little bit warmer. We had some really warm days here, but today it's cold. Yeah, today is very cold. Yes. But it is spring. I did declare it officially spring on March 1st, and I am the arbiter of such.
I don't know. So, I haven't seen it work yet.
Well,
but okay,
it worked for several days. Today it's cold. Tomorrow it will start to warm up again. It'll be fine.
Sure that wasn't from you?
No, it's spring. I'm telling you, it's spring. I'm not taking it back. It is springtime. Yes. Anyway. So wonderful to have you all with us. I just saw something disturbing, by the way, in the Facebook live chat. Tony D is in there. He says, sad to announce, but the Tony D show on the web is no more.
Oh, no.
Well, I wonder if that, now there might be we'll have to find out what's going on there. There might be a silver lining to that. It might be because he's got that gig on FM radio that I know he was interviewing for. But let's see maybe this is him on the phone. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Yeah.
Hoo-ah.
Here he is, the
there
man
he is.
himself.
Tony D, how are you, my friend?
So, coming with some news.
Yes.
Breaking news.
Okay.
There's no music bed for it.
I really don't. I could turn this back up. There we go. How's that for breaking news music?
Works for me. I'm good.
What's going on?
So the Tony D show is coming off the web, man.
Off the web. Okay.
Off the web, but it's moving and coming back with the heavy metal happy hour Saturdays and Sunday nights on 105.9 The Hawk in New Jersey.
Nice. You did get it. Congratulations.
Very nice.
Yep. So you will be able to spin me Sundays and Saturdays, 7 to 9, 105.9 The Hawk. And I'll be spinning the heavy metal happy hour. So we'll have an hour of retro metal music that we've mistakenly forgotten. So when I say mistakenly forgotten, I'm bringing back the 90s era of metal and the early 2000s metal, the Korns, the Disturbs, the Chevelles. We're going to bring back some of that. We're going to talk music news. And on top of that, I'll be able to go to concert halls and be able to do shows from outside of concert halls.
Outstanding.
So
very good. Well, congratulations, Tony.
Yes.
Now, I assume people will be able to stream the show online as well.
Yeah, you can go right to the website.
Okay.
It's on It's on. They got an app. They got a mobile app. There's a lot of things that I didn't realize that I had to cut out in order to do this. And obviously, doing my, well, I think you know about this, right? You know about the clauses and stuff that you can and can't do with being on the air, and then having another show where kind of makes your image kind of bad. And if I wanted to keep the name the Tony D, then I would have to end the one because the one doesn't fit with the other. So that wasn't gonna change my name, and with all the nonsense that we did. So
right. So you will still be using the name Tony D on FM.
Yeah. It'll still be Tony D, the Tony D show.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Okay, good.
So Tom said he's not interested. So.
Oh, Tom Blanchard not interested. That surprises me. I mean, he likes that kind of music, I think.
He's just not a fan. It's okay.
But I will say, Tony, I mean, most of the people, as you know, in our Facebook live chat, adore you.
I'm trying to figure out if I can do this like that, like how you do it from their station, because the guy was open to it, but he was just like, they tried it before and they kept getting Facebook banned every time that they did it. So it's tricky. Well, yeah, so we have that problem with on Friday nights, we do Retro Spectrum Radio here from WMNH, and that is often a problem with that show because Paul plays music and then Facebook knocks us off. But what we do is every time that happens, we appeal the decision to block the video with Facebook, and we say, we're from a federally licensed FM radio station, and 9 times out of 10, they accept the appeal and then they unblock the video. So sometimes it's just a matter of you keep doing that consistently, you keep appealing, and after a while they give up and say, okay, you're doing this from an FM radio station, but it can be difficult in the beginning. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you might be better off with that. You might be better off streaming directly to YouTube, because YouTube will let you do it. Not a bad idea.
They just won't. Obviously, they'll never allow you to monetize it because you're using copyrighted music. But I don't think they'll mess with you either the way Facebook does. Facebook has really clamped down on that, as you know.
Yeah.
We'll
give it a shot. And see what happens. See what nonsense we can tongue tied.
Because
come up with doing it. So
because when we
love to do it, on the web.
Right. Because when we first started doing Facebook Live here from WMNH, like Peter started going on Facebook Live in the mornings, and I remember he would mute the audio during the opening, or he would wait until the opening music had already played, and then he would start the Facebook Live feed, and he would kill it a little bit early. I think maybe he even still does. And then I would do that too. But the problem with that was I would turn down the audio on Facebook when I would go to play a song, and then I would forget to turn it back up. So after a while, we just said, screw it. We'll just let it play, and then we'll just deal with when they block it. And like I said, you just keep appealing, and then after a while, they give in. But that's exciting news, though, Tony. Congratulations, my friend.
Yeah, you know what the program director said to me?
What?
He's and I knew like right off the bat we're going to have a good relationship. He goes, you definitely have a face for radio. I was like, wow.
Oh God, I hate when people say that.
Wow,
it's so hack.
Thank you.
Did you tell him he's a hack for saying? You wouldn't tell him that because then he might change his mind. Tom Blanchard says Pennsylvania is way down south. Yes, Tom, that is true, but it doesn't matter anymore because of the internet. You can get anything from anywhere.
That's how I found WMNH. I'm all the way down here listening to you guys all the way up north.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. Yeah.
It's the way it works.
Yeah.
It's the way it works.
Yes.
So anyway, I got like a 3-week time span. I got to go through a bunch of stuff on what we're going to be doing. They're going to be introducing me on their website in about a week. So I got to do these portrait shots or something in front of their sign and all, and then I'll be on the weekend. So hopefully, you guys can call in, tune in, maybe Maybe you'll request some Kiss. We can play something.
Yes, absolutely. That is fantastic. Oh, so a question completely off topic, just quickly, and everyone will understand why I'm asking you this in a couple of moments. But when I explain, and I haven't even discussed this with Jenny, she doesn't know what's coming yet. But couple people I want to know if you're familiar with. I may have asked you this one once before, but are you familiar with Mike David from Red Bar Radio?
I am.
You are familiar with Mike David. Are you a fan?
Haven't. It's like 50-50. Why do you ask? Well,
let me get to your. Let me ask you about this other person I want to ask you about first. Are you familiar with Jesse P.S. from a show called Pod Awful?
No.
Okay. All right. I'm going to explain to everybody after the call why I'm asking you about that. It actually has to do with Tom Gully, but I'll explain the whole thing afterward. I don't want to keep you on the phone for this, but it'll all make sense.
Tom Gully is a joke to me.
I know you're not a fan of Mr. Gully. I know.
Listen, you realize when he goes on to his show and he does his show, he destroys the people that call his show. Like he literally destroys his fans. And like if you look at his likes and then thumbs up and thumbs down, every show he gets about 60 thumbs down and 2 likes per show.
Right. Well, he's nice to us. Although
he's always nice to me when I call.
He's nice to Jenny. That's what really matters.
Aww.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a joke. He's a joke. But that's just my opinion. He knows and the best part about it is he knows that I think he's a joke. And like I've even called in, and people from my previous show called him and told him he was a joke. And it's just some of the content that he puts out there. Like dude, I don't care that some guy tried to make a zebra smoke a cigarette. Like that's not entertaining to me at all. Like
wait, some guy tried to make a zebra smoke a cigarette? Is that true?
Like he talks about things like that. Like it's not, but it's funny. Like don't get me wrong. It's funny that the guy tried to make a zebra smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
But it's the way that you deliver it that's not funny. Like it's not entertaining at all. Like, oh well, I like smoking Parliaments. I like smoking Marlboros, and the zebra tried to smoke a Camel, and it's like, wow, what a joke.
See, I like his. He's very, very dry. He has and his sense of humor. His delivery is very dry, which I actually like. But that's not for everybody. Not everyone's going to. I think Tom's probably an acquired taste.
Well, I would say that the Unleashed show is very moist.
Thank you. You know, we go for that. Honestly, one of my goals with this show is to be very humid. I try to be very humid for 2 hours every day.
Huh?
And you do a very good job of being humid. Maybe
thank you.
Maybe you're so humid that you cause everyone not to have congestion in there, and there's no need for a humidifier. Huh?
Okay, don't sweat it.
Right. Don't sweat it? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Right. Well, we try to be humid, moist, and hydrated.
Especially
right. You just don't want to be soaked. You don't want to be soaked.
No, because that's uncomfortable. And frankly, I don't like the feeling of wet clothes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Very heavy. Very heavy, weighed down.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Then you got to find a change of clothes, and now you're talking unsheathed, and just a whole different level.
Getting caught in the rain is like my worst nightmare. Some people like it. Oh, I love when I'm like out for a walk and it starts raining and you play in the rain. To me, that seems psychotic. I don't know why anyone would enjoy that.
Let me ask you this. In the summertime, in July, when it's really hot out.
In the summertime?
Do you like to mist yourself?
No. Again, wet clothes. No, thank you. No.
But not your clothes. Like you mist your face. Do you like to mist your face?
No, that's weird to me. I've seen people do that. I don't understand it. No, I don't. I'm not a self-mister. How about you? Missed?
All right. Well, we're not. That's a new one.
Well,
You're not a self-mister.
I'm not.
Jenny, do you like to mist yourself?
Not so much.
I've never seen you missed.
No. Perfume, does that count?
No.
All right, then.
No.
No.
Well,
No.
what
Gotta
about
say nay.
what about you, Tony? Missed or no mist?
I got one of the bottles with one of the fans on it, and I like to mist when it's real hot out. And I'll mist.
No, maybe that's a Pennsylvania thing. We're not misters up here in New England. We are no
I guarantee you, Easy G missed. I guarantee you he missed.
Most likely he does now that you mention it, because I can actually picture it. I can imagine him misting.
Yeah, he probably has one of the bottles like I do with the fan on it, has it in the fanny pack, takes it out at the bus stop, gives a little squirt, and he feels good for a couple minutes, and then he does it again.
Right, yeah. No, I agree with that. I can imagine that. He does seem like a mister.
You do seem to have that down pat there,
Yeah.
don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anyway, I want to hear what you got to say about these two guys. So I'm gonna tune in on the other side.
All right, Tony. Thank you for the call, my friend, and congratulations again.
All right, brother. I'll see you on the airways.
All right, man. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, the great Tony D making a return to FM radio. Good for him. Very excited about that. Tom Blanchard apologizing. He says, didn't mean to be a jerk. Sorry, Tony. Oh, no. Tony is beloved. I'm sure he didn't take it personally. Tom also said, by the way, you would like the Bob Newhart show. Yeah, because I like dry humor. Oh yeah, no, I
love Bob Newhart.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was reminding me of my dad.
I remember watching the original show in reruns, but I was a huge fan of Newhart, the one that was set in Vermont.
Yes.
CBS Monday nights. Oh, I loved Newhart. Great show.
It's my brother Daryl and my other brother Daryl.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Fantastic show. Absolutely. No, so the thing that, the reason I was asking, Tony, if he knows these various, characters, there's a specific reason, and we won't spend a lot of time on this, I promise, because it is admittedly a little bit of a dead end, but, Jenny, you know, I'm a big fan of, Mike David, from Red Bar Radio. I remember I was listening to him one night while I was on the computer doing some work, and you came out into the living room because you were like, "What are you listening to?" Because you heard the Jewish music that that Mike David likes to play. So Red Bar Radio. It's been. He's one of the original podcasters, like from the early 2000s. He's been at it a long time. You know, before we were I've been at it a long time too. Like the only difference being, you know, Mike David is extremely far more successful at it. He's got this big following. He's out of Chicago, and but before the term podcast was even being used, when we were still calling it internet radio. So he was. So I've been a fan of Red Bar for about 5 years now. I go through phases. I get kind of burnt out on him, and then I don't listen to him for a while, and then I go back to listening to him. So lately I've started listening to him again, and he's actually been a kind of an influence on me. Some of the way it's funny, you know, I do a political talk show, and yet my biggest influences are people in radio who don't talk about politics, really, like Mike David or Howard Stern, of course. Although Howard's gotten political lately in some instances, and Ron Bennington from Ron and Fez is a big influence on me. But so I was listening to Mike David, and Tom Gully's name came up, and he mentioned it in passing, and I was trying to figure out, why is he mentioning Tom Gully, and I was thinking about too, like this whole world of broadcasting, you know, with terrestrial radio and podcasting, you know, everybody who streams online and everything. In one sense, the world has gotten so large because there's so many people, there's so many different ways to create content now in media, whether it be live radio like what we're doing, or people who do it online, or both, which is really what we do. We're doing both, right? But there's so many people in the game now. Like it's something anybody can start a podcast. It seems like everybody has one, right? But, there's people who just stream directly to YouTube or only do Facebook or whatever it is, however they decide to put their show out there. But there's so many people in the game. It seems like such a big world now. And yet it also seems like a small world because of the internet, everybody kind of has access to each other. And sometimes, these people intersect in ways that you wouldn't expect. So I heard Mike David mention Tom Gully, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But Mike David was also talking about this other guy. His name's Jesse P.S. And if you're looking for him online, the way he spells his last name, it's P-S. I don't know why. I don't know if his actual last name starts with a P and ends with an S, and maybe it's a big long name, and he thought it would be funny to make it Jesse-PS. I don't know.
That would make sense.
It would, but I have no idea. And I've checked out his show, and I find him a little exhausting, but interesting. He does something similar to what Mike David does. But supposedly there's something between Jesse P.S. of Pod Awful, which is a clever name, Pod Awful. Like God Awful, but Pod Awful because it's a podcast. And but there's some weird thing between him and Tom Gully. And I was researching and trying to figure out what that was. And that's why I was asking Tony if he knows who these people are. Like, obviously, he's very familiar with Tom Gully. Apparently not a fan, and he's aware of Mike David. He's not aware of Jesse P.S. But so I was trying to figure out because Mike David and Jesse P.S. used to be friends, and now they're in some feud. And, I love a good feud. Nobody really does radio feuds anymore, but there's podcast feuds, right? I love it. I love a good feud.
I know. I like that, too. I like it when you cross in shows.
Oh, yeah. So Mike David is mad at Jesse P.S., and Jesse P.S. is mad at Mike David. Oh, and there's this other guy, Mersh, who's involved in everything, who's also a podcaster.
That's soap opera.
Yeah. But so then I was trying to figure out, well, like, what's the conflict between Jesse P.S. and our friend Tom Gully? So that's what I mean about it being a small world in a sense, right? And I couldn't find much. But I found this. So Jesse P.S.'s show, Pod Awful, is available via Audible on Amazon. And there's this thing here. Now, I could pay the $6 to join this guy's, special club that he charges money for to actually hear this episode. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it. I don't know if I want to give this guy any money, this Jesse P.S., because he attacks our good friend Tom Gully.
But why?
Why does he attack him?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. But apparently there's a call. He called Tom Gully's show. Now, when Tony D does it, that's one thing. Tony D can attack Tom Gully, and that's fine because we love them both.
Quasi-family.
So we don't take sides. We're neutral. We're Sweden if it's, Tony D versus Tom Gully. Even though technically we should be feuding. We're supposed to be feuding with Tom Gully, but it's hard because we like him so much. So, but this is what was written about Tom Gully by Jesse P.S. He wrote, "Is this live? That's all it takes to derail any streamer. I don't know why, but if you accuse them of not actually being live, they will pack up their OBS and go home. In my journey experimenting with this power, I came across a few amazing subjects, often boomers, and many of them what I would refer to as fake radio guys. The dudes who have been pretending to be on the airwaves in their spare bedrooms to an audience of nobody for the past 30 years. One such specimen is one Tom Gully, a charlatan who claims to be on major network radio stations coast to coast, but in reality is just live streaming to one guy named Morty. That's not his only bold claim either. Tom Gully is so full of lies it puts him on a goon level with Mersh himself. By the end of this episode, we will uncover one of the most embarrassing aspects of this dental dynamo's life, his years-long battle being bullied by literal children. So, if I decide to pay the $6, I can actually hear the episode. I'm undecided, but...
It is quite the conundrum.
But then in my research, I also found this. There's a podcast called the MCL 771. This is really weird. And this is what I found this via Google, and I'll play this for you. It is it's this guy. This clip is only a minute long, but it's titled "Not Calling Tom Gully." So here's the audio of this. This is really strange. Here we go.
Let me make something clear. You want me to call somebody, and you keep bugging me multiple times to make a call on somebody's show. Like Tom Gully. Well, guess what? I am not calling Tom Gully. You know why? Because it's a trap. They want me to talk some of the stuff that I did, probably promote my music, but I'm not doing it unless if I get payment of $1,000. But if you do not have $1,000, I will not do it. I have to have that payment of $1,000. Or I'm not doing it at all. So, yeah. This is just a quick podcast message I want to get out there. Because some people want me to call a random stranger for his show, the Tom Gully show. And I'm not doing it. And that's final.
So there you go.
Well, now he told you.
Well, now
That's right.
Yeah, he's not calling
doing
Tom Gully unless someone pays him $1,000. Which I would call Tom Gully if someone paid me $1,000. I mean, you know.
Well, of course.
But we like Tom, so it's not like a great
It's not like
sacrifice.
we give anybody money to pay him.
Right. I'm not
I'm
right.
not that way, you know.
So I have to decide: should I try to contact this guy and find out, like, bring him on the show and find out why he wants $1,000 to call Tom Gully, or should I just let it go and forget about it and just move on? Because what if it turns into another Crazy Joe situation? Because this guy sounds a little.
Fun.
He sounds a little. It could be fun. Yes, we have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
I wish you would have explained this to me about 10 minutes ago, because I'm so into it right now.
Yes.
I would know, because we could have definitely dug into this. So I got an interesting thing here.
Oh.
I was set up also in the podcast world where people, all right, so the whole Tom Gully thing, the whole Tony D and Tom Gully thing was insisted by a radio station known as Good Talk Radio.
Oh, yes. Yes. He's on
so
that. Tom
what
is
happened
on that.
is when I was on the air, they grabbed my show and put it on their airwaves, right?
Yeah.
And then they came back and they told me that they were like a Christian-based radio station, and the things that I was talking about was wasn't enough, or was way too much for their radio station, that they were going to replace me with Tom Gully.
Yeah.
So what happened was Tom Gully replaced me, which then started a war between both of us, going back and forth about the cans of mayonnaise and all that stuff, which then had his people start calling my show and then me start calling his show. But it is true, because the last episode with that dude, that Jamie, I guess, PS dude or whoever it was,
Jesse,
Tom Gully had 167 people that I was like, wow, this guy really has a strong following. But then every episode after that, it went down to 2.
Oh.
So I'm wondering if that Jamie's dude
Jesse
who called the show is that episode that's right there that's recorded for $6. Send me that link. I'll pay the $6 and record it and send it over to you to listen to it.
Okay. Yeah. I'll send that. I'll send that to you when we take a break at the top of the hour. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I'll pay for it, because I guarantee you that's why he had such a strong following.
Okay.
That one show with 167 people.
That's probably why.
Could be.
I tried to find it on YouTube too, but Jesse PS has been banned from YouTube. He's been deplatformed, so I guess he's only doing, the only way to get his show now is to pay for it. But yeah, I'll send you the link, Tony.
Yeah. I think I'm going to like this dude. All right, yeah, send it over.
All right, Tony. Thanks for the call.
All right,
Evil
sis.
people.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah. Well, the plot thickens,
Give
yes.
peace a chance,
Yes.
man.
Very, very, very curious. All
Although
right.
the fighting could be fun.
Yes.
Fisticuffish.
I got to decide whether to contact this other guy. It could be dangerous.
I think we should listen first
And
then decide.
Listen to his show?
You tend to jump in, and then you find out
Right.
later that they're a little bit off the rails.
I think we already know he's a little bit off the rails.
I mean, we do know
Yeah.
about, Crazy Joe is kind of your fault. I mean, you were encouraging and
I tried to help Crazy Joe. I really did. I tried
to help a little too much.
I guess so. He didn't want my help.
No.
Oh, well, anyway. Well, we'll move on. 603-250-6007 is the number to call if you would like to interact and opine. 603-250-6007. You can also text us at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, let's see. I'll send Tony that. I'll send Tony that link in a few minutes when we take a break. I did see something on rightwingwatch.org. By the way, we haven't talked about anything from Right Wing Watch in a while, but Johnny Enlow, who is one of these colorful characters, these QAnon conspiracy theorists, and he calls himself a prophet. He claims that Trump has been secretly ruling and reigning as the true president, which is
ruling and reigning.
Yes.
It's always interesting to me that these so-called constitutionally, constrained people, I'm looking for a word there.
They call themselves constitutionalists.
But where is it that we have reigning and
yes,
ruling?
Yes.
Isn't that the kind of thing that exists in, like Britain with the Queen?
I believe so.
The whole
yes.
reigning royal. I've never had a president reign.
This is
that I'm aware of.
This is
or rule.
This is what he actually said. He said, I think a whole lot is going on behind the scenes. I think we have two presidents. Essentially, one's over the corporation, one's over the republic. One has the essential machinery of the economy and the essential machinery of the military, and one has things to do with other things. You can say what's left a little niche there. There's a moment of quick confrontation coming where it's going to require that two things go back fully, visibly in the order that the Lord has said, and that is President Trump will be there again. We'll find out he's been ruling and reigning and accomplishing things that he could not accomplish even if he was in the full role of standing in the presidential seat. Because of the attacks he would be getting, it's really saving him. There's a kind of strategic wisdom to do all you can while they have to shoot at somebody else, unquote. So there you go. So for all of you who long for the days of President Trump and you're disappointed that he was not reinstalled on March 4th, don't worry. He is, apparently he's like a shadow president or something. It's very exciting.
He's Michael on Earth. He's an archangel now. Don't you know these things?
That's fantastic.
Reigning.
You would think,
reigning and ruling over you.
Would think
these are the things that we have in a republic.
You would think he'd have better hair, but that's all right.
Maybe that falls under the corporate branch side they were talking about.
I don't know.
Maybe it's the corporate side when you're ruling over you.
Yes. I
no,
don't.
wait. See, no, wait. He's got to be Jesus.
Oh, well,
it's got to be Jesus, man. It has to be because that's the only way you get ruling and reigning under God, right?
Right.
Because God has spoken.
Very exciting.
Because God has said that from on high that Trump will be our Lord and Savior.
Oh.
Amen. Do I have an amen?
That's wonderful. Wow.
Yes, don't you know this? See, God is doing this behind the scenes, and Biden is just a puppet.
Right.
See, and the secret societies that built the dome over the flat earth that was built by the green aliens.
It's called a firmament.
That Alex Jones talks about. See, I got it. There's the connection. Ha ha! It's the lizard people.
Well,
David Icke was right.
Yes. Well, it really does all make sense. It all fits together if you think about it, and ingest some hallucinogenics. But
I just wish I could hold a mirror up in front of some people and go, "Really?
Mm-hmm.
Are you listening to yourself?
Well, they're not the most self-aware folks.
Do you comprehend
in many
what
cases.
I'm saying?
Yes. Let's see. So I just wanted to get that out there, what Johnny Enlow said, for those of you who are missing the orange one. Let's say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat. Abigail Gem joins us. Abigail says, good afternoon.
Melanie is my chat room hero today.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get to Melanie.
You'll get to it.
Abigail says, on this day in 44 BC, Julius Caesar looked around and said, kind of a weird vibe in here. Oh.
I'm supposed to be related to that guy, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Romans.
Let's see. Tony D is in the chat room. Tom Blanchard.
He's everywhere today.
He is. He is omnipresent. Tom Blanchard says, welcome to the last cold day of the year. It's all downhill from here. Trying to be optimistic, LOL. I think this will be the last. Well, like I said, it's spring. It is spring.
It's coming.
Fight me if
Hang
you
in
don't.
there. It's coming.
I will fight for spring.
We have more sun.
We do.
We do.
No snow on the horizon. Brian Mackey is a top fan all the way from Idaho and says, good Monday.
Good Monday.
Good Monday.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good Monday. I like that. It sounds like kind of hobbitish.
Yes.
You would expect that from like a JR token. Good morning. Let's have second breakfast.
I suppose. I tried to read The Hobbit when I was a kid. My mother's third husband, Ed, thought I would enjoy it. I didn't get very far. I did not enjoy it.
Too dry for you there?
No, it just wasn't. I'm not into like magic and wizards, and it's not my thing.
The first book I remember ever getting into was Misty of Chincoteague. It was a story about this horse going from this island to the mainland. It was really cool.
I don't like stories about horses either.
It was a good story.
I'm sure it was. Joe Friday says, good afternoon, peeps. Had lunch at Elm House of Pizza today. Outstanding. Yes, that is Tim Baines. I believe that is his new place that he has opened up. And,
I am hearing good things about this.
Former Alderman Tim Baines. I heard he's very excited.
My name is Tim Baines. Today I'm excited.
Yes.
Oh, I am looking for a good pizza place to replace the one I used to use. I need a good pizza place now.
Yes.
Mayhaps that should be Tim Baines on Elm Street.
Did you say mayhaps?
Mayhaps, yes. Mayhaps that should be.
Is that a word, mayhaps?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Schweik over there. Making fun of me.
I don't just ask him.
Walk home. What do you do with you?
Melanie Laliberte, I'm sure I'm continuing to say that wrong, says, I've had to change my name due to nonsense. Oh. Okay. Right. I know what that's because Tony D was talking about, being Tony D on his new show, having to give up the other show to yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Just want to make sure we get everybody here. Yeah, Tony says seems podcast drama is always around. I was brought up on multiple shows that I started a podcast war. It lasted weeks.
I like it when it's somebody on the days and someday on the afternoons, morning show versus evening show. That always gets interesting when it goes back and forth between the shows.
Oh, yeah, when there's like...
like when Easy G is in here, but he's out there, or he's out here and he's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
yes.
Yeah, like that.
Well, Easy G, he starts all kinds of drama.
He is. He is the king of all drama. Ha ha.
Yeah. Mike Pelopita joins us in the chat. Mike says, good afternoon, everyone. Mike is from another one of our wonderful sponsors here at WMNH, Queen City Cabinetry. Melanie says, right, because Trump would have totally kept that quiet. He is super awesome with secret keeping, referring to Trump's shadow presidency. Melanie also says, I was just talking to the Lord, and she didn't bring that up. Weird. Yes. Well, the Lord works in mysterious ways.
I told you she was my new hero for today.
Yes.
She made me laugh out loud twice.
She's wondering if she gets a T-shirt for that. Yes. We'll have to send her. We'll be pulling the shirts out soon to put them online and make them available. But yes, Melanie, we will send you a shirt. We also
perfect for your new spring attire.
Yes. We still owe Tony D a shirt too. I keep forgetting.
Yeah, you kind of stink on the whole thing.
I do. Miriam Banish is in the chat room. Hello, Miriam. I noticed online it looked like Miriam's dog returned home safely and is doing better. So very nice to see that. Very, very cute dog.
I know, right? I saw those pictures.
Yes. Tom Blanchard says, Tim Baines, any relationship to Al Baines, was my scoutmaster. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if Tim Baines is related to Al Baines.
It's a small world after all.
I just know he's excited.
My name is Tim Baines. Today I'm excited.
Yes. Let's see. So hello to everybody in the chat. There was something. Oh, there's. It's one of those things where there's so much going on at once. It's almost. Oh, you know what I wanted to look at first is. This is from Mediaite.com. And I wanted to look at this specifically, and I didn't have a chance to pre-read this. But this article, this short article, challenges, and Mediaite's one of my favorite sites, but this article challenges something that I've been saying. And I like that because I've been very critical of Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida. And I've been saying that I think he's a psycho and, reckless and irresponsible and so forth. Now, this article on Mediaite says, New York Times, LA Times, and Axios admit DeSantis might deserve credit for handling COVID. And so, obviously, from that title, this article on Mediaite, a site that I do trust, challenges some of what I've been saying. Which I like because, most people who host political talk shows, they never, they have a specific ideology that they're adhering to.
They don't even consider possibility of changing their perspective.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like most political talk radio is conservative. Conservatives really dominate the political talk space. And it's usually, you have a conservative host who only talks to conservative guests and only takes calls from conservative listeners. And it's all just a big, everybody congratulating each other on, yay, for groupthink. We all have exactly the same thoughts and opinions, and none of us are going to challenge each other in any way. And isn't that great that none of us are capable of independent thought? And so, part of the purpose of this show is to rail against that. And I like things that challenge my ideas. I'm not a big fan of confirmation bias. So I see something like this that challenges my perception of Ron DeSantis. I'm curious. Now, we'll go through this. It's a short article, but I'm curious about what it has to say. Because to me, I like... If something can change my mind, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
People get far too comfortable, especially with politics, far too comfortable in their ideas, their opinions, and to the point that they don't like anything. And that's why that conservative talk radio formula is so successful. If you don't, because people don't want, that's why, not to pick on him because he's dead now, but Rush Limbaugh, what was the slogan? Mega dittos, Rush. All these listeners who would say mega dittos because it's like, yes, you do all of our thinking for us, Rush, and we just agree with you, and we don't have to allow any independent or challenging thoughts or ideas in. But I prefer to be challenged because I think it's a good feeling. If somebody proves to me I was wrong about something, first of all, I'm secure enough to admit I was wrong. But I actually like that feeling of being proven wrong.
Thankfully, our circle aren't like that, though.
Well,
we're actually with
most people aren't.
Most of the people in our world tend to be okay with going, "Oh, really?"
Well, yeah, I prefer to be. Prove me wrong, and then I actually like the feeling of admitting that I was wrong about something, or admitting that maybe I was wrong, or maybe I need to reconsider it. See, that to me, that actually feels good. Not only am I not threatened by it, it actually feels good because then I know that my mind is still working. True. Like I'm not some mindless automaton, just moving through the world, running with some ideological
of course you are.
herd.
You're liberal. I have a
fully functioning brain,
right?
So we'll look at that, but we do have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hi, Matt. Hi, Jenny. And this is Ron. How you doing today?
Good,
hey,
Ron. How are you?
I'm just coming from Salem, New Hampshire, and I couldn't wait to get a signal, which I am getting now, thank God. And
yes,
in regards to your topic matter, I would like to see, and maybe it's already happened, I missed it. I'd like to see you and Jenny gang up on that guy, R.J. Willett. Even though he's a world of information, the way he distributes his information to people, and he takes the microphone on the stage and he won't listen. Man, I'd love to see the three of you guys get together one day, and I'd like to see the two of you guys tear him apart.
Well, so here's the thing about that, Ron. Couple things. It's a little more complicated than that. But so first of all, let me just say this about Glenn. I personally, I love Glenn. I consider him a great friend. However, I'm also not supposed to talk about him when he's not here, because we have picked on him, always good-natured, because I do love Glenn, and there's a lot of, we do a lot of ball breaking around here, but it's all done with affection. But it got to a point with Glenn, because he is an odd, eccentric character. I was asked.
Yes, he is.
I was asked by management, because Glenn complained, not to pick on him anymore. So we don't pick on him anymore. However, having said that, once Jenny and I are both fully vaccinated and we're able to begin to reconsider and reevaluate, right now we're keeping a very tight bubble, so we're not having guests outside the household or outside the station. But once we're able to move past that, I would love to have Glenn on. Glenn's been on the show many, many times, and I look forward to the day when he can join us again on the air and have that discussion. I'm not supposed to talk about him when he's not here, but I'm being very careful about what I say. But I do love Glenn.
Sure, I understand.
Great guy.
I don't dislike the guy, but he's like Judge Judy. I just want to say, I just want to say something. And I think you're very quiet and you're not very outspoken. But I think Jenny's got enough ammunition to keep up with him and set him up, and set him down. So I'll look forward to the day when you guys could get together. I can't wait to see the show.
All right, Ron. Thank you for the call, my friend. We look forward to that as well. All right, bye-bye.
I have a certain special sort of skills.
I guess so, yes. I think I'm pretty outspoken, but the other thing with Glenn is, too, I mean,
funny, people don't think you're as outspoken as me.
Right. Well, I might be more...
And you're on here more than me, so what's up with that?
I might be more diplomatic in some ways.
Oh, I gave that crap up a long time ago.
I know you did. I know you did.
See, there's the thing. I stopped putting on airs. I don't sugarcoat nothing.
Yeah.
Just give it to me. Down and dirty, give it to me.
Right.
And that's what I expect from you. If you want to putz around with it and play with it, I don't know.
Well, the thing with Glenn, too, the people's mayor, Glenn R.J. Willett, I mean, we did a whole...
yes.
And it was both Peter White and I,
because you guys
on the
are
morning
evil.
show. We did this whole virtual Glenn bit with a soundboard.
It was really cool
that we
too.
built, and it was a lot of fun. But some of it got to Glenn, and he complained. But I do love Glenn. I think he's a great guy. I mean that sincerely. The other thing with Glenn though is too, we don't discuss local Manchester politics on the show. We stick to national, some state, and if something comes up, if somebody calls about an issue in another city, we might talk about it, but we don't
make a point of it.
We don't. I'm trying. Well, I can't use the actual phrase, but we don't defecate where we eat.
Oh, that's what you. Why'd you have to go Aki?
Well,
you had to go Aki. It's almost dinner time.
Well, I wanted you. I can't say the actual phrase.
Come on,
but
man.
It kind of sums it up why we don't do that. So we if we have Glenn on, we'll talk about national politics and maybe state politics, but we won't go near anything local to this city that we live in. So,
I just realized something.
What?
I can quote anything that President Biden says, and you'll never have to hit the dump button.
Right. Yes.
I can't say that for the predecessor. I can't say that. You'd have to be prepared. You'd have to be, there.
Yeah. President Biden is not particularly a potty mouth, except for
or offensive. Now, I'm also including offensiveness too. Because,
except for that,
grab him by the JJ.
There was that infamous moment where Obama came out to make the announcement about. Everyone remembers this when he came out to talk about the passage of the Affordable Care Act, and Biden was caught on a hot mic when he was shaking hands with Obama. Remember that? He said, "This is a big blanking deal."
Yeah.
And everybody heard it. But that was kind of a fun moment. But yes.
And he thought that was a big deal. Now look.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
The first female vice president, first woman of color. I'm just, all the things that are going on are just, it's nice to have a whole lot of good stuff to point to and go, hey, look at that. That's nice.
By the way, Stefan Philbrook is in the chat room. Stefan says, "Step off, Ron. I'll gang up on you." Oh, my goodness. Oh, no. Tom Blanchard says, "Glenn sure is long-winded and tends to go off subject." Yes, he does. Okay.
But him and I can spin around the same bush doing that. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
We can totally have that conversation.
I love Glenn. I
love him to death.
I have voted for Glenn multiple times, by the way. Whenever Glenn's on the ballot, I vote for him. That is a fact. Like Hoppy, yes. Like John Hopwood, yes.
They're willing to play in that pool.
Right.
More to you. Go right ahead.
So here's this Mediaite article. New York Times, LA Times, Axios admit DeSantis might deserve credit for handling COVID. So let's go through this. It's short, but I'm interested to see, will this change my mind
about
that Ron DeSantis is a psycho and a terrible governor for Florida? And by the way, my criticism of DeSantis has been largely based on he's like a mini Trump. He tries to downplay.
He's a Trumpkin, like miniature.
Yeah,
Munchkin,
he tries
munchkins.
to. He tries
you
to
have donuts and munchkins.
Yeah,
he's
right. He tries to downplay the virus and masks and
I made myself tickled with that one.
Yes. Oh, Texas Mike is in the chat room. Mikey says, "I'm watching via channel 97 while about to take a nap."
Hey, and congratulations to you, buddy. He's getting a dish named after him. There is going to be a Mikey omelet.
Yes.
I think that is so cool.
I think they
on
should
the menu
name it a Texas Mike omelet, but that'd be even better.
There's that too. Mm-hmm. No, I like it better. Mikey.
Are they
calling it the Mikey?
Isn't there such a thing as
go down there just so I can order it?
Texas omelet.
I want a Mikey.
Scott Robinson says we all need to get along. Leave the people's mayor alone.
I'm fine with him.
All right, so
it's Matt.
we love Glenn.
No, Matt's mean.
So here's what Mediaite says. Media outlets are beginning to wonder whether Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' handling of COVID could make him a formidable leader in his party coming out of the pandemic. Oh, my goodness. Well, we have a call, so we'll come back to that.
More dead, the better you get.
Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Hey, Matt, one more time. By the way, the volume's very, very, very quiet on the phone. I just wanted to, this is Ron. I just wanted to give a shout out to the lady who shot at me. That was pretty cool. I think I dodged the bullet and I took it well. But all in all,
wait, what?
I'm a single 57-year-old widower, and if she'd like to get together someday for a coffee, we could have some fun.
What? Who?
Wait, I'm confused.
Who?
Someone shot at you? I'm very confused, Ron.
The lady that got on the I don't know, your website, your phone, or whatever you call it, and left a message saying, tell Ron to chillax, more or less. I forget what she said.
Oh, somebody typed something.
You just read it on the air.
Oh, Stefan Philbrook. That's no lady. That's Stefan Philbrook. I mean, he, if you want to get together with him, I think he's spoken for, but
okay, that's cool. I just, I liked it. I didn't take any criticism to her response because, hey, this is America. Everybody's got their own thing.
That's right.
But I don't know. That's about all it was. When I heard it, I was like, holy cow! I thought maybe I'd have more people in my favor. But either way, doesn't matter.
Oh, we love you, Ron.
All right, you guys, take care. Bye-bye.
All right, Ron, take care. Bye-bye. All right. Tom Blanchard says, yes, Glenn is a very smart guy. Yes, he is. All right, so it says here, DeSantis, quote, is garnering praise in some conservative circles, unquote, the LA Times noted in a March 8th story, even as California Governor Gavin Newsom faces, quote, a potential recall over his handling of the crisis, unquote. The paper also acknowledged that the contrast between the two states, quote, has caught the eye of some public health experts. Interesting. The University of California's Dr. Robert Watcher told the publication, quote, one might have expected that the Floridas of the world would have done tremendously worse than the Californias of the world, and they did worse, but modestly worse, and there's something to be learned there, unquote. The New York Times followed the LA Times lead in the March 13 story titled, "I'd much rather be in Florida." Quote, "People here, they've been able to work," unquote, 34-year-old Democratic Florida voter Patricia Garcia told the paper. Quote, "The kids have been able to go to school. We have the reputation in Florida of being all Florida man and crazy land, but I'd much rather be in Florida than California, New York, or Chicago," unquote. The paper's Lisa Lehrer observed a week earlier that DeSantis was trashing another Democratic governor, New York's Andrew Cuomo, in the realm of public opinion, despite media hoping for a much different outcome as recently as last year. Lehrer wrote, quote, "Cuomo was a Democratic darling, heralded for his handling of the virus in a state that was hit hard by the pandemic. Celebrities declared themselves Cuomo-sexuals. His daily briefings became must-see TV, and political wags murmured about a presidential bid. The International Academy of Television Arts and Sciences awarded him an Emmy for his 111, quote, masterful coronavirus briefings. He published a memoir about his leadership, taking a victory lap with the race far from over. Today," Lehrer noted, quote, "Cuomo has fallen from his perch as a liberal icon," unquote. Oh, I'm sorry, that's not the end of the quote. "DeSantis has ascended to conservative stardom," unquote.
You know how this works. Come on.
None of that. See, here's the problem with this. So none of this changes my mind so far. There's a little bit more here. None of this changes my mind because all they're saying is that DeSantis, and by the way, apparently DeSantis was very popular at CPAC this year. All this is saying is, conservatives really like DeSantis. He's a rising star in the Republican Party.
Well, he made wrestlers important people, don't you know?
Essential workers.
That's
yes,
right.
Yes. But, that doesn't mean that none of that changes my mind. I mean, being anti-science, downplaying COVID, not wanting people to wear masks, yes, that will raise your stock in the Republican Party. That's what the modern Republican Party is. It's the party of Trump. It's the party of Marjorie Taylor Greene and QAnon, and it's the party of Ron DeSantis.
Oh.
He plays to the base, and it works for him. None of that changes my mind. How does that mean that you should give him credit for anything?
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes in the Republican Party. That's the way it works.
Yes, yes.
The more idiotic and the less science involved, the more pie in the sky, invisible powers involved it is. Hey, the more you are welcome.
Yes, yes.
I don't even recognize it. Like, if you really take a step back and just for a moment kind of remember Reagan and the Republican Party of Reagan. The family values Republican Party of Reagan, the conservative, fiscally, but caring about people, all of that. That used to be the Republican Party, but in no way, shape, or form does that even resemble today. It's just, I really think they should have been forced to give up their name. It's not really living. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just, they're nowhere near alike. You put those two things side by side and they don't meld. Trump and Reagan don't meld.
Well,
one is not the other's Republican.
Kind of depends on how you look at it. Stylistically, they don't, but some would argue that Trump is really just a manifestation.
Trump was putting up walls. Reagan was tearing them down, Mr. Gorbachev. There's a big difference.
Yeah, but Reagan was Reagan did do that amnesty, too, on immigration.
He did, and it was also during Reagan's administration that women finally got the right to go see an OBGYN without it costing an arm and a leg, because it was recognized as something that a woman needs just as much as a primary care physician. It's part of primary care.
See, some argue that Reagan, I hear this a lot. People talk about how would Reagan have functioned in the modern Republican Party and how would Nixon have functioned in the modern Republican Party. Nixon would not have, because he would have been tagged a rhino, too liberal. Reagan, however, would have adapted. Reagan wouldn't have played it the way Trump did.
He would have had to hide Nancy more.
He would have adapted.
Because he would have had to keep the foo-foo, tarot carding, future stuff further away, I think. I think that it was just the little woman's thing,
Yeah.
Back then, it was the little woman.
But Reagan would have adapted because Reagan was adaptive. Reagan didn't necessarily have core principles. Reagan, he largely, granted, he was still, early in his career, he was a Democrat, which I suppose is something that he and Trump had in common. But, Reagan largely liberalized abortion as governor of California, and then changed his mind when it was politically expedient to do so. There's been a lot written about how Reagan, he was this conservative, the patron saint of conservatism for so many years, or at least before Trump came along and people started to forget about Reagan. But, what underlying principles did Reagan really have?
We used to argue on the merits of an issue. We used to talk about an issue with more meat and potatoes in it, more getting down to the nitty gritty. Now we live in sound bites. We have a society it's all sound bites, and it's all about going after one another, especially in the Republican Party. Who's the better Republican? They're constantly tearing each other down now.
Oh, yeah. Look at what they've done to Liz Cheney. My God.
That's what I mean. Like, how far away? Seriously, Liz Cheney. Seriously.
Who's very conservative.
How do you try and say she's not a Republican,
she's
but
no
Trump
Ryan.
is?
Yeah.
Come on,
exactly.
people.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't get that at all.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
it's just
she's on Trump's enemies list now.
Well, but the thing, like when Reagan was, "Thou shalt not speak ill of another Republican." It was the the 11th Amendment or whatever.
Commandment.
Yeah. People would talk about it and joke around about, but they were serious. They were very serious. Like I can remember when I was serving, if one Republican was trying to badmouth another Republican in caucus, it would be taken to task. Because you weren't supposed to do that.
Right.
You're supposed to have decorum and respectability. And that's why our government is supposed to work better, because we follow those things. Well, we did. We don't now. Now you can throw tomatoes at somebody and you'll get cheered on. It's just now there's just no dignity to it. It's a Jerry Springer government.
Oh, yeah.
In that regard. And they're all still in it. I had hope that with Trump out of office, that we would see some kind of a returning of the Republican Party to its roots. And unfortunately, all they've seemed to have done is dug in deeper with their claws to this new,
it's a cult,
disgusting
cult of personality.
Constantly. And how can you, I'm so glad to have it go away that I'm not listening to somebody constantly drilling down into, I don't like this one, and this one's bad, and that one's not a good one, and this one's a Republican, but this one's not really a Republican. It just constantly just pooping all over their own people, left and right. How do you get anything accomplished that way? How is our society better for us that way? How is a Republican doing anything worthy for the American public that way? Knock it off. Stop it. I'm so saddened and frustrated that my one sliver of hope with him getting out of office and seeing Republicans maybe get back to some normalcy of what they used to represent, family values, supporting education, making sure parents have the right to educate their children the way that they want to educate their children, all these wonderful things they used to talk about all the time. Now they have nowhere to speak to. To me, it's like being a Republican standing in the middle of a strip bar trying to tell you how to be godly. That's the Republican Party right now.
Stefan said in the chat, Reagan, he started the big middle class trickle down, LOL. The last real Republican was Eisenhower. However, that platform now would be more, quote, progressive. Oh, yeah, Eisenhower, definitely. And Rhonda Favero joins us in the chat. She says, California in the house. Well, we're past the top of the hour. Let's take a quick break, and we will be right back on this Monday afternoon. I think I'll play this Living Color track, a little Cult of Personality. Seems appropriate. And we'll be back. More Matt Connarton Unleashed coming up. Don't go away.
Come on, man.
everybody. Welcome. It's hour number 2. Well, in hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connarton Unleashed. And we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester. Streaming online, you can go to mattconnarton.com and click Listen Live for all of your streaming options. And Jenny is here as well.
I am. I'm here.
Yes. It is
a bright, sunny day.
Yes.
I'm loving the sun. I'm not liking the cold.
No. The cold shall pass. I think tomorrow it's supposed to begin to warm up again. It is Monday, March 15, 2021. If you'd like to give us a call, you can do so at 603-250-6007. 603-250-6007. You can also text us at 617-917-4476. Tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can always interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But I think the best thing to do, of course, is to call us at 603-250-6007. Also, programming notes tonight after this show is a replay of Granite State of Mind with the great Rob Azevedo. And then after that, at 7 p.m. is a replay of Retro Spectrum Radio from Friday night. The show is now 2.5 hours, Retro Spectrum Radio. So you can hear us. It was a great
show.
Thank you. Yes.
I liked it. I had some fun painting to that one.
Yes.
That piece came out very nice, actually.
Retro Spectrum Radio with Paulie C. And, of course, I'm Paul's co-host on that program, along with our friend Dan Randlett. Now, 7:30 p.m. all the way to 10 p.m. every Friday night right here on WMNH. I saw this. Where'd it go? Did I lose it? I may have actually accident. Oh, here it is. Yep. Reuters is reporting this, and not necessarily a big, not necessarily on anyone's list of top 5 big stories today, but I just thought this was interesting because if you're a longtime listener, you know how I feel about the war on drugs. Reuters is reporting today, Biden reverses course in U.S. Supreme Court drug sentencing case. And I only had a chance to glance at this, but it says here, President Joe Biden's administration today told the U.S. Supreme Court that it thinks low-level crack cocaine offenders should be among the beneficiaries of a federal law that reduced certain prison sentences, reversing the position taken under his predecessor, Donald Trump. Although Trump signed the 2018 law known as the First Step Act, his administration had concluded that possession of a small amount of crack cocaine was not a covered offense under the statute, which included various criminal justice reforms. Acting Solicitor General Elizabeth Prelogar wrote in a letter to the Supreme Court that the Justice Department now believes that the defendant who appealed his case to the justices, Terry, that's hard for me to say, is eligible for a lesser sentence. Terry, now 33, pleaded guilty in 2008 in Florida to 1 count of possession with intent to distribute 3.9 grams of crack cocaine. He was sentenced to 15 and a half years in prison. The Atlanta-based 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals last year ruled against Terry. The Supreme Court is scheduled to hear oral arguments in the case on April 20th. So, you know, the Biden administration is taking that position that low-level crack cocaine offenders should be among the beneficiaries of the First Step Act. I think is a positive. I mean, you know, in terms of ending the war on drugs, we're getting there in it is truly an exercise in incrementalism.
Dribs and drabs.
Yeah. The baby
is incrementalism. It's you know, how many dead bodies we're going to step over till we get there.
Yeah.
And start trying to do things right.
The babyest of baby steps to try to get there. I am still cautiously optimistic that within the next 5 years, we will see cannabis fully federally legal. I do think that will
I think
come.
Mexico's going to do it before us, though. They're having talks right now about it.
Right.
I'm waiting to see. It's going to be interesting if Canada and Mexico are legal and the United States in the middle. You know, quasi-legal here and there and sentencing people to death in jail for others. It's just...
Yeah. So hopefully we get there sooner rather than later. So that was just a quick thing that I saw on Reuters that I wanted to share. Ron Johnson, we were talking earlier about Ron DeSantis, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, and the way he plays to the base. Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin keeps ending up in the news. I mean, he's just he really plays to that base, the QAnon people and whatnot. It says here, Chris Cillizza's column, The Point, which is up on CNN, Ron Johnson's latest comments are just straight out racist. This was pretty stunning to me, even coming from him. It says here, Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson is very good at one thing, making comments that are, at best, ill-informed and at worst, racist and or dangerous. He has suggested Speaker Nancy Pelosi was somehow behind the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. He's said the riot wasn't actually an armed insurrection. He has suggested there were professional protesters stirring up the problems that day and that they might have been affiliated with radical leftist groups. He said a year ago that the economy had to fully reopen in spite of the coronavirus, and he's insisted that the deaths from the virus are necessary sacrifices to keep the economy up and running. And late last week, Johnson did it again. Quote, this is Ron Johnson's quote. He said, even though those thousands of people that were marching to the Capitol were trying to pressure people like me to vote the way that they wanted me to vote, I knew those were people that love this country, that truly respect law enforcement, would never do anything to break the law.
Oh, God.
And so I wasn't concerned. Now, had the tables been turned, Joe, this could get me in trouble. Had the tables been turned and President Trump won the election, and those were tens of thousands of Black Lives Matter and Antifa protesters, I might have been a little concerned, unquote.
Wow.
Yeah.
Racist much?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were so good to the police. Just like the two people that were arrested today for bear macing the cop that died.
Yeah.
Literally. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see how much respect you have for our country and the laws while you beat somebody over the head with the American flag.
Right. And way to back the blue.
Oh, yeah. Traipse through the Capitol with the Confederate flag. Hello.
Also, we have some new... an update on Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York.
Did he quit yet?
No.
I'm waiting to see what happens.
No. I mean, he's. I think his political career is over after this term, regardless of how he goes, whether he finishes his term or not. But rawstory.com is reporting at this hour, Cuomo accuser turned over 120 pages of records as scandal takes a bizarre turn.
What?
Charlotte Bennett, a former aide to Governor Andrew Cuomo, today spoke with investigators for 4 hours, her attorney says, and provided 120 pages of contemporaneous notes about what she says is the sexual harassment she experienced from the New York Democrat. Her attorney, Deborah Katz, said in a statement, quote, one piece of new information that came to light today was the governor's preoccupation with his hand size and what the large size of his hands indicated to Charlotte and other members of his staff.
Wow.
Bennett detailed her allegations of sexual harassment, unquote, and in addition to the 100 pages of contemporaneous notes, also gave investigators other examples of documentary evidence. Katz's statement reads, Quote, she also provided details about the sexually hostile environment the governor fostered in both his Manhattan and Albany offices and his deliberate efforts to create rivalries and tension among female staffers on whom he bestowed attention, unquote. Oh, my God. Last month, the New York Times reported Bennett, quote, is accusing Cuomo of sexual harassment, saying that he asked her questions about her sex life, whether she was monogamous in her relationships, and if she ever had sex with older men, unquote. She also, quote, said the governor had asked her numerous questions about her personal life, including whether she thought age made a difference in romantic relationships, and had said he was open to relationships with women in their 20s, comments she interpreted as clear overtures to a sexual relationship, unquote. Oh, my goodness. I mean, it just keeps coming for this guy. He's...
You know what it comes down to? Guys that know how to treat women right and guys that don't. I mean, unfortunately, and we're now becoming more... I think our society is becoming more open to what's really been going on in front of their eyes. I mean, women have been complaining about this kind of thing forever. And it's always just, the good old boys club. It's okay. That's just how they are. It's how guys are. That's what you hear. Oh, it's just locker room talk. It's always excused among those types of circles. But I mean, I've been with you for years, and I know that you're not that way. You never speak like that towards a woman or, even jokingly, it's like, oh, look at my hand size. That's not you. And that's not quite, there are a lot of other men in this nation that are equally as good as you. But unfortunately, there is a large swath of them that think it's perfectly okay for them to put their hands on a woman because they're a man. They have that right. They can tap you on the tuchus. They can put their arm around you. They can pinch your cheek. They can give you a little peck. Oh, come here. Come sit on my knee. These types of behaviors are not okay anymore. But for a long time, they were. And that's you're going to see more Cuomos. As more women realize that no one, in fact, had a right to put the hand on you, the more of them realize that they didn't have to put up. What we put up with, I guess what I'm trying to say is what women have put up with for a long time is no longer okay. And more women are realizing that they don't have to put up with it, that there is something you can do. Because in the past, if you even tried to say anything, you'd lose your job. You're done. No one's going to hire you.
Yeah.
You got to take it.
Well, that's what, the Me Too movement, which has evolved into the speaking out movement, that's what that's all about is women finally being able to feel safe because it's got to be absolutely terrifying when, obviously, I'm sure
it is. When a stranger man that you do not know decides to put their hand around the small of your back, or which is a real popular one.
Well, yeah.
Or puts their hand, what seemingly looks like around your shoulders, but those hands are actually under your armpit and touching your breasts. It is really creepy, jump out your skin kind of thing. But I know I'm guilty of it, and I know probably a lot of other women my age and older are guilty of it, of where you sucked it up buttercup and you didn't say nothing because you need that job.
Well, that's the part. That's what I was going to say. Is it must be terrifying to speak out against someone who, and I'm sure it gets worse the more powerful the person is. So it's got to be terrifying to speak out against someone who is your boss. And you do need that job, but when the person is someone like Governor Andrew Cuomo,
right?
Then it's like it's got to be especially
terrifying. The first person to stand
terrifying.
Up definitely had the largest hurdle to jump over.
Right.
That first one who was willing to say this is not okay.
Because in politics, what happens, and I will say this, I am pleasantly surprised to see that in this instance, although I have a suspicion about why this might be, and I mentioned this before, but I don't see these women being attacked, because usually what happens in politics is people who are a member of the party of the person being accused, they do everything they can to smear the attackers, right? Not the accusers, rather. The people who are of the same party become the attackers, and they try to smear the accusers and discredit them. I don't see that going on here. I don't see, if anything, a lot of Democrats in the state of New York are saying Cuomo should go.
Republicans are going to be quieter about those kind of things. It used to be more prevalent. I mean, especially back in the 1980s, there was a lot of discussion around rape cases and women being accused of dressing inappropriately, too scantily clad while you were asking for it.
Yeah.
Because you wore red lipstick and a high skirt. You know, that was always an excuse for men. You know, I wouldn't have put my arm on your butt if you hadn't have been dressed that way. You know, I had to get up closer and look at those breasts because you're showing them off. So why wouldn't it be? Of course, if you're showing them off, you mean you want people to touch you. That's the mentality that we're still trying to get over. And that's what I'm hoping is the reason why you're not seeing as many people jumping on the victims these days, is that we're maybe starting to move past this bizarre excuse that men have always had. I say this with no disrespect, but I'm sure you'll agree, it's been acceptable for men to behave these ways. It's been absolutely okay for them to go, come here, sweetie. Come on, honey, have a seat on my knee.
Well,
you want an extra $20 in that tip? Give me a smooch.
Well, something I keep wondering, though, too, in this case is because, like I said, not only I've been pleasantly surprised that I don't see anyone smearing these women, which is good, but also I have been surprised at how quick some Democrats have been to suggest, and some not so much. Some are saying, no, you got to let this investigation play out. But some Democrats I was surprised at how quick they were to condemn Cuomo and say he should resign. And the thing that I keep wondering is, did a lot of the Democrats in New York already know? Did he already, behind the scenes, did he already have a certain reputation? Did they already know
I'm sure
that this moment was going to come? And that's why instead of saying, we got to let the investigation play out, they're just saying, no, he should resign, because they already knew. And now it's finally coming to light. And they're like, okay, well, let's just.
I think we're starting to see the last vestiges of the good old boys club, the good old.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be falling apart now because there are far more women and people. There's just far more diversity, and that it's not going to be as allowed.
Yeah.
You go look at if you go to any state house and look at the pictures of the representatives and stuff, they're all white men until a certain point in history, which isn't that long ago.
Right.
So you get a bunch of white men making the rules. That's the way it's going to be.
Right.
And it's always been okay. Of course you grab you pinch your secretary. I mean, that's the joke. Oh, you get a cute secretary. You must be sleeping with her.
Yeah.
And what that does to degrade women who are in those positions it's more than I can. I mean, because just think about it, guys. Just think about it. I mean, how would you feel now in this day and age? Somebody saying that, but that's the way it was. It was acceptable.
Yeah.
I think it's great that we're having these conversations now, and we're having conversations with transgender individuals, and we're having conversations with non-binary individuals. That we're taking the sexism out of it, if you will, and starting to maybe peek over the corner a little bit towards a society that, is more accepting of one another and not quite so judgmental that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we're finally to a place in our society where women are not judged as much by their clothing, except for religious circles. Just average day walking around. There's not as much judgment as there used to be, I think.
No, I agree. Tom Blanchard says in the chat, some men are pigs. That's true.
And unfortunately, we're getting like I said, all those old belief systems. We got to kick them to the curb. It's like the construction workers. I don't think they hoot and holler at women so much anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there was a day when a woman couldn't walk past a construction site, young, old, or indifferent, and she'd get hollered at.
Yeah.
One way or the other. Not always a good way either. They don't always just whistle.
Yeah, and what's even the point of doing that? Like,
I never understood that either.
Like, do they think one of these women is going to be turned on by that?
Yeah, seriously.
What's the point?
Well, it does come out of that same mentality of people that thought it was a good idea to buy her some Betty Crocker books. That's good. Here you go, honey. Have some Betty Crocker.
Oh.
Or you're getting a little upset, honey. Here, you sit down. I'll handle it. Get the vapors.
Oh.
Women were treated like they were so fragile and broken, and then just, I don't know. I'm fascinated with how I think we're at a crossroads in society. In our nation, we are seeing major changes, and the religious right isn't winning out so much anymore.
Yeah. Something else I wanted to get to. I saw this on Mediaite. The reason I wanted to bring this up, Marvin Hagler passed away over the weekend, the boxer, and 66 years old. But the reason I wanted to mention this specifically is I heard on the morning show Louis Applebaum, who's a frequent caller, and at one time, and I was speaking of feuds, we were talking about feuds earlier, at one time had a feud going with Gonzo. Gonzo
he gets into it with a lot.
Gonzo's feuded with many people. But
you think he's feuded with more than Easy?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Easy's got beef with everybody. He's always beefing.
He is the gold medalist.
He's getting down and dirty with everybody. But
mixing it up.
But during the call, Louis Applebaum mentioned something about Marvin Hagler may have been killed by the COVID vaccine, and Peter, I think both Peter and Daryl kind of tried to shoot that down pretty quickly because that's ridiculous. But this is because the last thing we need right now is more of this anti-vaxxer stuff out there. And I'm not saying that to criticize or chastise Louis. I'm just saying it's not true. But this popped up on Mediaite. Widow of boxing legend Marvin Hagler blasts speculation he was killed by COVID vaccine, calling it nonsense. It says here, the widow of boxing legend Marvin Hagler is fighting back at social media speculation, claiming that the former middleweight champion died from the coronavirus vaccine. In a Facebook post to the late fighter's verified fan club page, Kay Hagler blasted the rumors about how her husband died, which ran rampant on Twitter over the weekend in the hours following his death. Explaining that she is not a native English speaker, Kay Hagler dismissed the social media nonsense attributing her husband's death to the vaccine. Kay Hagler wrote, quote, "I'm the only person that knows how things went. Not even his family know all the details, and I do not accept to read some stupid comment without knowing really what happened. For sure, it wasn't the vaccine that caused his death. My baby left in peace, and his smile is gone. Now is not the time to talk nonsense." TMZ reported that Hagler's son, James, said the boxing icon was taken to a New Hampshire hospital. See, I didn't even know, by the way, until his death, that Hagler was living in New Hampshire, that he was taken to a New Hampshire hospital Saturday after experiencing chest pains and having difficulty breathing. He died later in the day at age 66. So there you go. So
how sad is that? How sad is that? Our society, in the other side, we talk about changes. Here's a nasty one. We tear people apart over their dead.
Yeah.
They did the same thing to Sandy Hook parents. Oh, they didn't really die. This is another instance of this conspiracy garbage. But it finds its way into this nastiness. You imagine the love of your life passed away, and you're having to put up with this kind of nonsense. You're already reeling from a death and trying to think of all the 1,000,001 things you have to do. That's just that angers me. It really angers me. What a way to show somebody you appreciate what they did for you. Treat his, get his widow so upset she'll have a coronary.
Yeah.
Jeez, come on. Stop it.
Reuters is reporting today that the White House says the U.S. has reached out to North Korea and received no response. Apparently, Kim Jong-un upset about the love of his life, Donald Trump, no longer being in power. I mean,
still say we can give him. I mean, you want Trump, you can have him.
Yeah,
We'll let him go.
yeah.
Hey, yeah. Woo-hoo, boo-hoo us here. Yeah,
Right.
you can have him. You play toy.
And they don't, obviously, they don't extradite people to the United States, if it comes to that. Says here, North Korea so far has rebuffed entreaties from the U.S. to engage in dialogue, the White House said today, as a chill in relations that began under then-President Donald Trump has extended into Joe Biden's presidency. Nuclear-armed North Korea gave up on diplomacy with Trump, even though he and North Korea leader I haven't said the name in so long, I can't say it anymore. I do believe I'm developing adult-onset dyslexia. Forgive me. Kim Jong-un had 3 high-profile summit
dementia?
meetings and exchanged a series of letters. Trump had refused North Korean entreaties to relax sanctions against Pyongyang unless Kim took steps to dismantle his nuclear program, which he refused to do. Biden White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki told reporters that U.S. officials have reached out to North Korea through a number of channels since taking office nearly 2 months ago. She said, quote, "Our goal is to reduce the risk of escalation, but to date we have not received any response," unquote. She did not elaborate on what type of escalation the United States was concerned about. North Korea conducted 6 nuclear tests between 2006 and 17. Psaki said the administration was consulting former U.S. government officials who have been involved in North Korea policy from past administrations, while also seeking input from allies Japan and South Korea. She said, quote, "This follows over a year without active dialogue with North Korea, despite multiple attempts by the U.S. to engage. You can all anticipate that there will be a continued expansion of engagement with partners and allies in the region," unquote. A senior Biden administration official told Reuters on Saturday that there had been efforts to reach out to the North Korean government through several channels starting in mid-February. The Pentagon expressed concern early this month about a UN report indicating possible reprocessing of nuclear fuel for bombs by North Korea. I think that they ran out the clock. I mean, we know they already have nukes. I think they just... I
wonder how much of this stuff really works, though.
What do you mean?
Because you're talking about a country that doesn't even know how to keep the lights on. They don't ever, they lack normal basic necessities.
Yeah.
How can you do nearly as, I just don't think they can do nearly as much as they claim to be able to do.
Yeah.
How?
Well, it would be
with what?
It would be comforting to if that is the case.
I don't think they can hit us. I worry about what they can do to the neighbors.
Right.
But no, I don't believe that they can hit us.
Well, that's a big part of the problem is if they were to ever decide to advance on South Korea, then we're involved. I mean, via treaty, we're legally, I don't know if legally is the term, but we are obligated.
We're not the only ones.
Maybe legally is the term. We're obligated to step in. That's why we have, and we'd be in it anyway. We have, I don't know what the number is now. It might be 10,000 troops that we have along the border between North and South Korea, along the DMZ there.
I mean, all South Korea has to do is wait till it gets dark. They can't see nothing in North Korea. They don't have lights for nothing. And if anybody's questioning what I'm saying about that,
in Pyongyang they do. But
look up a Google map for at night, and you look at it, and there's South Korea is beautifully lit up.
Yeah,
everything. North Korea is like dark, just dark.
Right.
They have nothing. They don't have street lights. They don't have nothing in their houses. Just nothing. No lights. How? Really, South Korea, how can South Korea lose against that?
Right.
How can they lose against that?
Well, the problem is if North Korea, here's the thing, if North Korea were to charge the border into South Korea, within 30 minutes, they would be in Seoul, South Korea.
Well, you're talking about, but look at North Korea's troops. These people aren't even fed night. Even the troops there are not fed correctly. Most of the people in North Korea are underweight, stunted in their growth, and are starving. They don't have the food store. They don't have grocery stores. They don't have food like we do in any way, shape, or form. The vast majority of people in North Korea are food poor or deprived. I'm not sure what the word is for that. You know what I'm saying? It's like their troops.
A lot of famine, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of famine. And their troops, and he's crazy. The guy has them with these crazy shoes on. And the way he makes them like bounce on their knees and stuff, these people are hurting. They don't have enough food. They don't have enough water. They don't have energy. And yeah, I don't see them doing much good trying to get across the border. If that are a fact, I would wonder if North Korea has more of a concern about invading South Korea, because how many of the troops would get across the border and go, to heck with you, I'm not coming back there? Because that would be me. I mean,
right.
You lived in North Korea as a troop and you got sent to go have war, and you hit South Korea. You're like, yeah, to heck with it. I'm staying.
Well, it would certainly be it would be a disaster.
The people in North Korea are just they suffer. Like, I watched this whole documentary on them. I was fascinated with it. They all wake up at the exact same time of day.
Yeah.
They all get up to do their chores, which is taking care of, like, sweep the road or clip your section of grass, which they actually do on their hands and knees with scissors. They don't have lawnmowers. Not even sure if I don't even know if they've seen one. They don't have lawnmowers. Things that we take for granted, they don't even come close to having.
Right.
It's awful how they live, and they wouldn't have to live that way if they weren't under a dictator who's insane. If they could open up their doors to other countries, there would be so much modernization that would come in there. Lives would change. People would live longer. Their life expectancy of somebody in North Korea, I think, is 50.
Brian Mackey says, remember the guy that got across the border? His stomach was full of worms.
Yep.
I do remember that. Yeah.
There's a young lady who does a lot of really great videos about North Korea. She's a defector. She's here in the States. And she talked about how kimchi is pretty much all they have to eat. You eat kimchi for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's no such thing as breakfast foods or lunch foods. And that they are bugs. They go out and capture bugs because that's practically the only source of protein they can get their hands on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I know it's insane to think that people live like that in the world today when it doesn't have to be.
Oh, here's that I found that I know we're almost out of time. We'll get one more thing in here, but yeah, this is that this refers to that story. Oh, they look like such charming people too that you mentioned earlier. Reuters is reporting 2 charged for pepper spraying police officer.
It wasn't pepper spray, it was bear spray.
Who died. Okay, this says pepper spray for some reason, unless it's a different incident. 2 charged for pepper spraying police officer who died after assault on U.S. Capitol. Yeah, I seem to remember hearing about bear spray as well. But it says here, the U.S. Department of Justice today charged 2 men with pepper spraying 3 Capitol police officers, one of whom later died during the January 6th assault on Congress by Donald Trump supporters trying to overturn his election defeat. Julian Ellie Cater and George Pierre Tanios are facing multiple counts, including assaulting police with a deadly weapon after investigators said they sprayed at least 3 officers with an unidentified but powerful chemical agent. One of those officers, Brian Sicknick, who we've heard a lot about, was later rushed to a hospital and died the next day. Cater and Tanios are not charged with killing Sicknick, whose cause of death remains unclear. A law enforcement source familiar with the matter said it is still too early in the probe to know if Tanios or Cater directly bear any responsibility for Sicknick's death. According to the complaint, the FBI said the 2 men appeared to time the deployment of chemical substances to coincide with other rioters' efforts to forcibly remove the bike rack barriers that were preventing the rioters from moving closer to the Capitol building, unquote. Cater, 32, of State College, Pennsylvania, was arrested as he disembarked from an airplane at Newark Airport in New Jersey. Tanios, 39, of Morgantown, West Virginia, was arrested at his residence in West Virginia. The two men grew up together in New Jersey, according to the criminal complaint. The FBI located Cater after a tipster who worked with him at a food establishment shared his LinkedIn page. Tanios, meanwhile, operates Sandwich U, a shop in Morgantown, West Virginia, that makes, quote, fat sandwiches, a type of sandwich containing greasy foods such as fries or mozzarella sticks.
Sandwich?
Yeah. That first gained popularity among Rutgers University students in his hometown of New Brunswick, New Jersey. According to multiple reviews of his business posted on Google, he was a staunch Trump supporter who also opposed wearing masks to protect against COVID-19. Well, of course. He filed for bankruptcy in 2020, court records show, and owed more than $178,000 in taxes to the IRS and more than $225,000 in taxes to West Virginia. The FBI,
Can you bankrupt your taxes?
You can't declare you can't declare tax debt in bankruptcy. I don't believe you can anyway.
Huh.
The FBI said it identified Tanios through witnesses who recognized his photo, including a former business partner who said Tanios was embroiled in a legal dispute amid allegations he had embezzled $435,000 in a prior business venture. Details about the litigation, which is still pending, were not immediately available.
Oh, isn't that so cute? See, he's trying to copy his papa.
Yes.
Yes.
In video footage from January 6th, investigators say Cater walked toward Tanios and said, quote, "Give me that bear, blank," and reached into a backpack Tanios was carrying. Tanios then replied, quote, hold on, not yet, it's still early," unquote. So based on that comment, it sounds like it was bear spray.
Well, and that sounds like it was very much methodically planned out, though not the intent to kill.
Right.
I think could easily be an upgrade to second degree murder.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't your intention, but you intentionally decided to do harm, and you intended to do harm. Maybe not kill, but that's still second degree murder as far as I know.
The complaint said the officers were temporarily blinded and disabled by the substance and, quote, needed medical attention and assistance from fellow officers, unquote. A federal magistrate judge in West Virginia ordered that Tanios should be held in custody pending an upcoming detention hearing that could occur as soon as Thursday. A magistrate judge in New Jersey also ordered Cater to be temporarily detained pending a detention hearing, though the timing of the hearing was not clear. Tanios and Cater are not expected to enter pleas until they are arraigned at a future date. More than 300 people have already been charged in connection with the riots at the Capitol. 5 people, including Sicknick, died in connection with the deadly attack, and lawmakers hid in fear for their lives. We know all that. In court filings last week, the Justice Department revealed it intends to file charges against more than 100 additional defendants in what it described as the most complex investigation it has ever handled. So there you go.
When I was working in the emergency department, there was one time where I did have a family come in that had experienced bear spray. One of the kids had gotten their hands on it. It's very, very, very potent. I mean, you try to scare away a bear here, it really does work. But one of them had gotten I don't remember if it was that incident or another incident that somebody had gotten so much into them. They actually have to put these little plastic, kind of look like little caps, kind of sort of, and they put them like underneath your eyelids over your eyes with tubes hooked up to it, attached to the saline bags you're used to seeing getting put into a human body. And they use these bags to flush out the eyes to get the chemicals out. It's not fun. Don't go there. Trust me. You don't want to play with that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are out of time. Congratulations again to our friend Tony D on his return to FM radio. That's very, very exciting. And thank you all today and everybody in the Facebook live chat. And thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Maddie.
And if you missed any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit, up at mattconnerton.com. And stick around. I believe a replay of Granite State of Mind is coming up at 6 p.m. And then at 7 p.m., a replay of Retro Spectrum Radio with Paul E.C. You can hear our show from last Friday. And other than that, we'll be back tomorrow. Talk at y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.